Hey guys, Steve Zonardo here with Remax West Zonardo Associates. Happy Monday morning. Just a quick update on the market. Current inventory, we're at 7,506 units, down 300 to 400 since last week. And the bad news is our buying power is still here. So we had about 1,423 units actually selling. So this is, naturally a lot less inventory than what we're normally used to in the last couple months. And we had astronomical sales prices. Now we expect more higher prices going into the winter because our buying power is still there and our inventory is dwindling. This is sort of like a broken record at this point, but ultimately let's see next week if we get into the 6,000 ranges, and it's going to get even more expensive going into the winter months right now. So I know that always in the past we always say, when do you list and when do you make the most money? And I always told clients, even back when, was always list when the less amount of inventory in the market. Obviously the demand's got to be there. So going into the winter months usually would be a negative. People would want to list more into the springtime because they thought it was a better time to list and sell. But ultimately, if you want to make the most amount of money, hit the market when there's less inventory and still a strong demand, which is what we're going to see now in November, December. So that topic kind of leads right into my next topic. And it's, I read an article regarding inflation. And just remember, inflation, back in March 2020, I mentioned this on one of these mornings with Steve, is that since the Bank of Canada started printing money for the first time in its history, or the first time in Canadian history that the Bank of Canada started printing money, that our money is going to be devalued. So during this process, I try to do as much as I can to buy as many commodities as possible. As boring as it sounds, if I bought, let's say I just bought a Porsche right now, but ultimately that's a commodity getting locked in. So if I bought it at X amount of dollars, I've already made about $25,000 on the commodity, because you're locking in product, and then as the inflation goes up, it's worth more money. The Alfa Romeo is 100% return on investment since I bought it. The Vespa that I'm going to rebuild now is about 20 to 30% increased in value since I've bought it a couple of years back. So like literally anything that I'm buying, even though it sounds very boring, you have to do this in a way where if you're buying some luxury, make sure it's going to be worth money in the future, because if you have to unload it, it's naturally nice to put more money in your pocket. And also gold, like we're actually buying physical little bars of gold, like ounces of gold, and converting cash into gold. So this is locking in our current dollar amount at a commodity that's either going to stay stagnant at its buy price or go up, which is now I think it's 100 US more than since I bought it. But fast forward, inflation right now, currently we're at 4.7%. We're, let's say pre-COVID, we're at 2% to 2.2%. So it's more than doubled since we've come into COVID and going out of COVID currently right now. So this is good for one of two people, and it's good for wealthy people that are selling product on the current inflation price. So what they can do is with that, if you and I would mention this talking about debt is worth more than money, or let's just say you have a $500,000 mortgage, and then you want to pay this thing off faster. If you're getting paid in inflation dollars currently right now, if you're selling something that's in inflation dollars right now, you can pay that debt twice as fast as you normally would in the past. So let's say, and again, it's only good if you're selling to pay off debt. So let's just say we have let's say $1 million mortgage, and you want to sell your current investments that gone up $300,000 to $400,000 in the last year. So what you do is you sell that product, and then you just pay off your debt. So then you're paying your debt twice as fast as you normally would, but you have to sell something in order to take advantage of that. For someone like myself, that I really don't sell anything for, even regarding investment sakes, unless we're going to buy something larger or reinvest the money into something different. But it's never pulled out and it's never paying off debt. So this doesn't work to my advantage. But I mean, wealthy companies, even like Rogers, stuff like that, they're selling everything on inflation. If you talk to anybody in the last six months to a year, everything's gone up. Even if it's an excuse to kind of raise their prices, they are. So this is what's currently happening right now. But the negative part of this is if you're a normal person not taking advantage of selling current inflated or products in current inflated prices and paying off debt, you're really losing money. Because if you have money in the bank, naturally, I always make that example of $100,000, and now it's basically going to buy you about $80,000 to $85,000 worth of products that normally $100,000 would have bought. Would have bought more naturally in the past. So it's basically it's taking money out of your bank account without you even noticing, because it's a devaluation currently. So that's what's currently happening right now. So what their prediction is that it's probably going to go up to about 6%, and then ultimately they're going to adjust it. And if it goes up even faster than they thought because now the Bank of Canada, like we were talking about in the past, the quantitative easing has leaned off and is going to be shut down. So there's going to be no more like huge sums of liquidity that the banks are going to be able to use in order to fund mortgages. So that's going to dry up that sector. And then if the inflation keeps going higher, then they're going to raise rates a lot quicker than they thought, because the Bank of Canada was talking about raising the overnight lending rate by the second quarter of next year. They could potentially do it this year. So let's see what happens. And that's pretty much it. Anybody have any questions, you can always reach out to me directly on my cell or here on the socials. So have a great day, guys. Ciao.